Welcome to my program, Bashy's Corner. The aim of this program is to provide respectful but meaningful discussion. On 18th of June, Danes will elect a new government that will rule Denmark for the coming 4 years. That is why we have invited different politicians, and we will discuss with them their party's policies towards ethnic minorities, integration, and especially inclusiveness in the society. And I'm very happy that my first guest is from Socialist People's Party. Neil Bloem, you are in Copenhagen City Council, but you are also candidate for parliamentary elections on 18th of June for SF. Welcome to the studio, and we are very glad that you took time and be our first interviewee.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I would, before I come to politics, I would like to know a little bit about you. I know you from newspapers, from your speeches, but who is this person behind Neil Bloem?
Well, as all of us, I'm many things as a person,
Sure.
But I'm 32 years old. I live in Nørrebro with my girlfriend. I've been in city council for 5 years now, serving for SF, and I used to live in Aarhus, but then I moved here now.
But what is your ethnic background? I'm a little curious.
Yes. My mother is Danish, and my father is South African.
Okay.
And he came here as a political refugee back in '79.
All right. So you are what we call a beautiful mixed child.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. As you said that you have lived in South Africa and you have lived in the United States. What were you doing there? Studying, or just because you wanted to live there?
Actually, my father moved back to South Africa when I was in the 6th grade because South Africa was democratized finally. And so I wanted to move down there and live with him. So I lived there for a year in the 8th grade when I was 14. But being grown up in a safe environment and everything, I couldn't really adapt in South Africa. And I found out I was actually more at home in Denmark.
You were more Danish than South African.
Yes.
But when you were there, that was the great time of South African liberation with great Nelson Mandela. So did you have this great, excitement?
I did not, because the social problems outweighed the beautifulness of because I lived in a very rough part of the city, and I just
shanty towns.
No, not shanty, but in the city.
Yes.
And things actually have gotten worse and worse since I lived there. You can't move around there safely now, and I used to go through that neighborhood to school every day.
And you did like that?
I did like that, but I felt safe. But today you don't feel safe. So South Africa, I'm afraid, is going in the wrong direction.
Okay. You have a bachelor's degree in philosophy and social sciences from Aarhus University. Aarhus University is very famous for inspiring people into politics. So what was it that you became interested in politics?
Well, I think it's always like I always had a latent, thirst for politics, but I never expressed it. But I would say my critical mind has been improved by the philosophy studies. But it was the practical stay in the United States, working in Congress for a Democratic congresswoman, that really inspired me to go into politics when I got back.
In USA?
Yeah, I got an internship in the US Congress, working for, sorry?
Who was that?
One of the members of the House.
Okay. Yes.
Her name was Grace Napolitano. She was 71 years old.
Okay. Yes.
Real powerful woman, working 14 hours a day to better the lives of people in her constituency. So providing safe zones and clear water and transportation. And so I just realized that you can really change a lot of things for people through politics. There's a lot of ways you can help people, but politics is one of them.
But politics can be also NGO work. But when did you get interested in being a full-time politician?
Actually, before Congress, I started in an association called Humanity in Action that was focused on human rights. And I remember
know
actually,
very well.
Yeah, you know that very well.
I've been speaking there.
Yeah, I saw you in Berlin speaking once.
Yes.
Yes. And that really, got me focused on the human rights issues. And and so led me to the United States. And when I came back, I saw I have to be a part of this, you know. And I chose. Some people advised me to go into the NGO world, but I thought politics is more my game.
So you can make more decisions.
You can make decisions, but you can also get a broader, you know. I like the broader perspective. I love what NGOs do, but they're very not narrow-minded, of course, but single focused. Yeah.
Now you're a member of Copenhagen City Council as a councillor. How long have you been City Council?
I was elected in 2009 till 2013. Okay. But then actually I lost my seat from in the election in 13. But now went from 13 members to 6 members.
Okay.
And in the 13 elections, I came in as number 7.
All right.
But then in February, a woman from my team, she withdrew. And so I took her place, so now I'm actually a permanent member again.
Okay. So you were a substitute and then you came in?
Yeah, now I'm permanent again. Yeah.
I understand that you are also a former employment, integration and environmental spokesperson, and now currently you are spokesperson for culture in Copenhagen City, capital and the heart of Denmark. What are these duties, you know, of your, you know, what did you do, you know, the big titles, spokesperson of SF? Yeah,
well, decisions we have the big city council, that's 55 members. Yeah. But then, because there are so many things to make decisions on, we split up into 7 different committees. And so my first job was to sit on the Employment and Integration Committee, where it's called Integration Committee, but integration work is very small and very limited.
Narrow also.
Yeah. Most of the time was employment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we integration through employment.
Yeah, and that were like the job consultants and and it's language studies and whatnot.
Okay, and now you want to jump one step further. Now you want to come in the parliament. Why?
Well,
I mean, you already have a lot of influence in Copenhagen City.
Yeah, and if I get elected, my influence will pass on to the next one behind me, like the influence was passed on to me.
So it's making a space.
It's making space, and also you can only make decisions in city council. The beautiful of municipal politics is that you can these are real decisions, like you can grasp them. Exactly. You know, if we make a bike lane, you can go out and see the bike lane. You know? But to really do the big picture for all of Denmark, then you have to be at the grand level.
So, but there you make laws.
There you make laws.
But the municipality implements them, you know. Yeah. So isn't it better to have your hands dirty there instead of sitting in the parliament and just talking?
I think my experience as a local politician and with the dirty hands and all will help me, because I think sometimes the lawmakers, they have never been in the city council. Okay. So they don't know what we actually have to do. So when they make big reforms, they just pass it on to say, you make it happen. Okay. And say, this is terribly underfinanced. So please give us the money that we need.
I noticed that you are one of the very few ethnic minority background people who are candidate for a socialist party. Mm-hmm. How come? They should have lots of people.
They should, but as late as yesterday, I was having a discussion with a guy who's a role model actually for ethnic minorities. He's a rapper and everything, and he says, I'm not going to vote. And he's almost like he's not directly saying a rapper,
Altaf?
Sorry? No.
Okay, it's somebody else.
I won't mention him in here.
No, it's okay.
We didn't disagree.
Of course,
we didn't agree. So, but he was inspiring people not to vote. You know, he says the system is corrupt, so I don't want to legitimize it by voting. And that's where I say, you don't fight the power, become the power. You know, take the power because it's yours to take. You know, use the power to change the society in the way that you want to change it.
It's very strange that some people think that by not voting, they will express their anger and their disappointment and dissatisfaction. But they don't realize that to do that, you have to join those forces with progressive forces and maybe make a difference. Anyway.
And I would tell you also, because it's not because that there are so many people of color in SF. You know, I'm actually one of the few colored people. And
That's
it's the same for Enhedslisten.
I know that.
So it's not that they don't want color, they would love people of color to run for them. They really, and they do all, the party does all these
campaigns.
They want, please, can you go out and find somebody, you know, if they're interested in socialistic politics, please come and join us. It's it's hard because people don't know that it's just there to take. I came in from the street and I said, hello, I would like to be a member of SF and I would like to run for city council. Of course they have to. People were also scratching their head, you know, what is this guy up to? But you know, and I had a year of training before I actually got elected.
Yeah.
But you know, it's open. I think this is one of the most open democracies.
But I'm happy to hear that, you know, actually.
Yeah.
So let's be a little bit critical. SF, I remember, always have called themselves as immigrant-friendly party. I was myself part of that in the 80s and I left then. But how would you explain to our audience, to our viewers who are watching you first time on my program, what does immigrant-friendly party means?
Immigrant-friendly in that context means that we will never treat you worse than anybody else because of your skin color, because of your ethnic background.
Okay.
We will hold you to the same
standards
as everybody else. But we will also, if we can make your life easier, because you have different traditions than we do here in Denmark, then we will accommodate that to a certain extent, as long as it doesn't interfere with other people's freedoms.
So there's the limit.
That's the limit. So
Okay.
I would say, don't ever force somebody to take their headscarf off, but don't ever force them to take it on either. That's my stance.
You have been working with employment, you know, but there is a very high percentage of unemployment among ethnic minorities, right? How would you, if you come to the parliament, and hopefully you come to the parliament, how would you convince your party to work on that issue?
Well, first we have to do the job reform that we need, you know. I don't know what's it called in English actually, dagpenge.
Okay, well it's a very special term.
Yeah, but actually the former government made a reform that actually hurting minorities and immigrants worse than ethnic Danes. It cuts in subsidies when you are unemployed. And it actually, statistics have shown that it actually hits immigrants the worst. So we want to change that law, of course. We want to change laws like that not immediately but indirectly hits immigrants worse. Other than that, we also want to focus on special issues. If there's a special barrier for certain minorities to enter the job market, we will have to focus directly on that and not treat everybody equal if somebody has some particular problems.
But you know, it's very funny that your party is Socialist Party, but they have made alliance with anti-minority party, Danish People's Party, on this unemployment allowance.
But I must say, I think we won. We came out winning that deal.
Okay.
Because here's the guy. We are a small party today. We used to be large. Here's a guy who's he'll be head of the biggest party. That's frightening as it is. But he'll be head of the biggest party. Now, the small party, my chairman, she made a deal with him that keeps him firm after the election. That makes him roll back what he created in the first place. And we don't have to give anything back on immigration or anything.
Okay.
So I think it's a very smart move of her, actually.
If I ask you, does SF, Socialist Party, has any national integration policy?
National integration policy?
Like, you know, on the national plan. Now, each municipality have their own policies, you know. But it needs to have a national plan of action, you know.
Yeah.
Do you think you can convince your party to have an integration policy?
Well,
because I don't see that.
No, you don't. But we are focusing on the broad issues.
Yes.
Here, you know, and I would love to work more on that, but you know, where you have to prioritize. So we came down to children, environment, and jobs. Those are the three main.
Yes.
And of course, I would say integration goes through all the, maybe not as much environment, but through the other two, you know. So what we would do, for instance, is that the first thing we did when we came into government, because we were in government after 2011,
Yes.
was the former government, they cut the benefits for refugees, and they call it the start help.
Yes.
Because they always have these weird names for all the hardcore stuff,
yes,
that they do. But they call it start help. We rolled that back. We said, no, we shouldn't treat ethnic Danish people on welfare different than ethnic minorities on welfare. So we lifted up just also to not create child poverty and whatnot. So that's one concrete example of. Okay. We also said that you have to only live here 3 years instead of 4 years when you can vote for local elections.
Okay.
And there are a lot of stuff like that.
Okay. You mentioned your party was part of this government for a while, and then they went out to have their own profile. You have seen, Neil, a very harsh tone about ethnic minorities. The rhetoric is amazing, you know. But why SF is silent on that? I never hear your party leader saying to Helle Thorning-Schmidt, the Prime Minister, or others, hey, come on, these people are part of the society. You should not, you know, speak about them like that.
Well, I spoke out on the campaign that Helle Thorning just made, where she said, if you come here, you have to work.
Yeah.
And you know, people say, why are you offended by that? I'm offended by that because it's implying, it's not written directly, but it's implying that immigrants don't want to work.
Exactly.
When you go out and you see who's driving the buses, who's cleaning, who's doing all the jobs that Danish people are not doing anymore. Yeah. So it's just, I think all these misperceptions, we have to get rid of them. And I think also the beautiful thing is when you live close to immigrants, places where people are living close to immigrants, Danish People Party is actually smaller.
Yeah.
Because when you know and you interact with immigrants, you don't have all the prejudice about them.
Okay, let's get back to you now. On your Facebook page, I noticed you wrote, I fight for a just society in which all people of the community are equal and contribute what they can. What is this can?
It means that we shouldn't have the same expectations for everyone because people have different capacities and people have different skills. I do believe that everybody has to contribute to society, sure, but everyone has a different, we're all individuals, you know, we're all unique, and so we can all contribute with what we can.
Okay.
I don't believe in just, and I also believe that it was a mistake to just place people on welfare, no matter if they're Danish or ethnic minority, but just place them on welfare and don't leave them alone, because you can waste your whole life if you just sit there and don't be inspired to do anything, because this is one of the most equal societies again. That's and actually, I was a substitute school teacher, and when I went out and met these children of immigrants, and I heard them, I say, what do you want to do? You want to be a doctor? Do you want to be a lawyer? What do you want to be? No, I can't do that. That's not for me. And you know, this is one of the few countries where you can do that actually for free. You can even get a scholarship, right, for free.
True, exactly. You live in Örebro, where there are a lot of ethnic minorities live, and you speak with them like you just said. So you are aware of the problems they're facing in the society. You know that?
Yes, of course. I used to teach them.
Okay.
I used to go to school with them, you know, when I was young.
You also talked about children a lot now, and you also on your Facebook, you say that you want all children should receive a good, gentle and inspiring start in life. Please explain.
Well, I think, you know, the basic personality is created in childhood.
Okay.
And so if childhood is not, you don't have a good childhood, it will become worse for you later in life. So we should really, really invest a lot in bringing people up good or well. And some people, they get there's a whole ton of difference on how parents treat their children. Some people have resources and some people have, you know, time. But some people don't take care of the children at all. And of course I would prefer the family to do that, but if they can't do it, we can't just leave them on their own. We have to, you know, and so we want to hire more teachers, we want to hire more pedagogues to help the children, you know.
You also said that you want to support refugees, but you did not mention immigrants. Why?
Because actually I was wondering because the Danish People's Party are still talking about all these immigrants flooding the nation, you know, and I was thinking, They're not really immigrants coming here anymore, not the way that they think.
Exactly.
So I looked at the Danish statistics webs page. Only out of the 10 people getting a place, opholdstilladelse,
a residence
permit, only one of them are for a Middle Eastern country. And guess what? That country is Syria, and they're refugees from the worst refugee crisis since Second World War. So there's still all these misperceptions about who's coming here. So, I wouldn't mind caring for American immigrants or Japanese immigrants working high-level jobs, but I think we should focus on the refugees first, because people are actually now priding themselves, on how bad we're treating the asylum seekers. And I don't think people fully realize what an asylum seeker is.
Coming back to your party, as I said to you, I know them very well, what I miss or lack, which maybe you can help us, that they don't make campaigns, in the TV, in the radio, newspaper, directed towards ethnic minorities and say, hey, look, our party is open, come join us. Would you like to advise them to do that?
I would love to advise them to do that.
Okay, do you think they listen?
Yes, I think, but I don't think, because again, and I'm one of the few ethnic minorities, and I'm not really that ethnic.
No,
So I only speak Danish and English, right? So
yes. Okay.
We don't know how to interact with people. We should maybe hire somebody to help us speak.
I can help you without any money.
not as a marketing strategy or anything like that, but because I believe that there are a lot of socialists out there that don't know that they belong with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Then tell me, why should ethnic minority voters vote for SF? Why should they do that? There are many other parties.
I think that, there's a lot of reasons. I think you should at least vote for the red parties. And the red parties I would call Enhedslisten, SF, and Social Democracy.
Okay.
Because we provide, and what I realized when I came in fighting Danish People's Party, I wanted to really fight them. It's the economics, it's the economics. What do you want to provide for? How do you want to share the wealth, right? Okay. Because if you starve people, if you create more poverty, actually you will create more disparity in society. You will tear society apart, I believe, and that will hurt immigrants as well. So you asked me why SF. I believe SF is as far left as you can go, while still remaining, we're willing to do compromises to get as much far left influence as we can. Okay. I also love Enhedslisten. I think that's the party that.
But we keep it to your party now. Yeah. Okay, then coming to your person, why should I vote for Neil Bloem? If you have to convince me, why are you so good then compared to others?
Yeah, but I must say there's a lot of other candidates I respect.
Talk about yourself.
Why I should? Because I have experience from the local
municipality,
city council. I have experience from my identity and my background, and I have a study in philosophy. Which gives me a very critical, analytic skill to perceive politics.
So you can bring humanity to the politics.
I would hope so, and I would try so.
If I ask you to look in the camera and tell ethnic minorities what you expect from them, okay, please.
Yes. Well, I expect from you that you participate in the society, not because I want you to, but because you should want to. As I said earlier, you shouldn't fight the power, you should take the power. This is your powers to take. So please, come out and vote on the 18th.
Neil, thank you very much for this lovely discussion, and I am sure that our viewers will follow this good advice from Neil and bring him to the Danish Parliament. And I'm sure that when you are there, you will not disappoint us. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.